Hello, welcome to Princess Power. The Princess and the Moon. Once upon a time, in the great kingdom of Moonland, a princess was born. Her parents, King Alistair and Queen Mirinda, decided to call her Princess Luna, after the moon god. Moon in Latin is called Luna. The people of Moonland believed that their beautiful kingdom was protected by the great moon god. It was the moon god who was responsible for the prosperity of the land. Therefore, the newborn princess was named Luna. Princess Luna started growing up in her great castle with plenty of luxuries. But Luna was a rather strange girl. She did not enjoy dressing up, playing with dolls, or wearing princess jewelry. Her favorite activity was looking at the sky. Every day at twilight, she would head towards the grand terrace of her castle and would set up her telescope to observe the night sky. "These lovely stars are my best friends," she'd say to herself. She was always happy when she was looking at the stars. During the day, when the stars were not around, she'd think and dream of them. Her parents were not too pleased with her behavior. She was nothing like a princess. Her father thought she was being weird and abnormal. Her mother would often force her to do things that a princess ought to do. She'd insist that Luna attends the royal ceremonies and parties. She'd say things such as, "I remind you, Luna, you are a princess, so dress like one and attend the grand ball with the rest of the royal family. Luna, you will have to meet Prince Sam today. Dress up and put on some makeup. Luna, you get out of those ugly clothes and put on an evening gown. You have to look grand," and so on. But none of this really affected Luna. Sometimes she obeyed her mother to make her happy, but on most occasions she'd escape the pain and run back to the terrace to spend time with her real friends, the friends in the sky. As she continued studying the sky with her telescope, she started learning a lot about beautiful, sparkly things everyone calls stars. She started noting down her observations carefully. Soon she realized that not all of the sparkly things were really stars. Some of them were different, and they did not give out light, but they simply reflected it. They were not stars, they were planets. She also started studying the white ball in the night sky that the people in her kingdom believed was the great moon god, their protector and provider. She wondered how the ball in the sky protected their land. She had seen people worship the ball with all their devotion. The ball would appear bright and big in the sky and would gradually fade away in about 14 days. Her people believed that the great god shrank into smaller and smaller crescents and slowly disappeared into the sea because of hunger and lack of resources. They had to provide food and beverages to the great god to bring him back once again. So the entire kingdom of Moonland would gather together near the seashore to offer him delicious meals. It was important to bring him back, as he was their protector. They would offer him some homemade meals together with gold coins while he rested inside the ocean. The food and the coins would simply be left into the sea, and the waves would carry everything to the great god. Soon after offerings had reached him, he would gradually start reappearing in the sky. Luna had been curiously observing these since she was a little child. While the rest of the kingdom followed the ritual blindly, Luna was different. She questioned everything she saw. She did not believe that the white ball we call moon god disappears as a result of hunger and magically reappears as after food has been sent his way. She wanted to find out what was really happening. So she continued her careful observations of the sky night. Based on her notes, she started imagining how the earth, the moon, and the sun were moving in the sky. She spent days and months observing and thinking and experimenting. Very soon she concluded that the moon revolved around the earth, and that is what caused it to disappear and reappear again. All that food and gold sent into the sea really served no purpose. The people in Moonland followed another strange ritual. Once in a year, the great moon god would show anger and appear blood red. They believed at this time that the great god was feeling lonely and needed a companion. So whenever this happened, they would send 4 large elephants from the kingdom to provide company to their angry god. The elephants would be taken to sea in a ship and would be pushed on the waves that were believed to carry him to the great god. This had been practice followed by the Moonlanders for years. The king had been getting really tired of these rituals. Sending the god food and gold from the kingdom every month and elephants every year had been an expensive affair. The inhabitants of Moonland had seen very little rains that year, and the kingdom was facing a famine. During such difficult times, sending away large quantities of food and gold to the moon god was looking very difficult to the king. If he continued the rituals, his people would have to die of hunger. The king had therefore started to wonder if there was another way to appease the great god. So he decided to call a meeting with his most intelligent courtiers to discuss the matter and come up with an alternative solutions. When Princess Luna learnt about the king's problems, she could not stop herself. She had to share her findings with the king to save the people of Moonland from hunger. Dressed in her loose cotton clothes, no makeup on, wearing her dark rimmed glasses, she barged into the court hall where the king was addressing his most intelligent men in his kingdom. The king was utterly shocked to see the princess make an appearance in those outrageous clothes. Before he could express himself, Luna started talking. "Oh, father, I know why the great god appears and reappears. I know why he turns red from time to time. I've studied the night sky for years and made observations and calculations that can help save our people of Moonland from hunger. Please allow me to explain my findings to you and your intelligent men." While the king was disappointed with Luna's appearance, he saw the truth and desperation in her eyes. She really wanted to help her father, so he agreed to listen to her. Luna then set up an experiment. A large circular lamp played the role of the sun, a smaller ball represented the earth, and an even smaller white ball represented the moon. She moved the balls around to demonstrate to the king and his courtiers the two phenomena, lunar phases and lunar eclipses. She showed them how the moon went around the earth, causing it to disappear and reappear gradually in phases. She then showed them through the experiment how the earth and the sun and the moon aligned together to form the lunar eclipse. The blood-red, angry look on the face of the moon is caused by the moon passing through the shadow of the earth. The king and his men were shocked when they saw the experiments. Some of the men did not agree with the findings, but the others did. Most important of all, the king and the queen were convinced by the experiments that they had been mistaken for all these years. They decided to discontinue the rituals of sending food, gold, and elephants to the moon god. The announcement was made into the broader public the following day. The people in the kingdom were delighted to hear that they were no longer have to send their hard-earned food and money to the sea. Their strange Princess Luna had saved them from hunger. The king and his queen realized the error they made in their judgment. From that day on, they stopped nagging Luna. She was free to wear, eat, and do whatever she liked. They made no more demands for her to look like a princess. They realized that not all princesses are alike. Some may be sparkly like the stars, but some others are calm and clever like the moon.